Peter Wright rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the blinking lights on his monitor. The soft hum of the Starweaver's engines had become so familiar over the past 3 years that he barely noticed it anymore. Something was different today, though. The energy readings from Saturn's rings didn't make sense. "Anna, could you take a look at this?" he called out to his colleague. Anna Martinez pushed away from her own workstation, her chair gliding smoothly across the ship's polished floor. She had been working with Peter long enough to know when something in his voice meant trouble. "What did you find?" "These energy patterns." Peter pointed to the unusual spikes on his screen. "They're not natural. I've never seen anything like this in all my time studying Saturn's rings." Anna leaned in closer, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the readings. "You're right. These patterns are too regular, too structured." She pulled up additional data on her tablet. "And look at this. They're coming from a specific point in the B ring." The year was 2157, and humanity had spread across the solar system. Mars held 3 major cities, the Moon was home to millions, and even Europa had a small research base. But Saturn's region had remained largely unexplored, except for automated mining operations and a few research stations. Captain Sandra Miller's voice came through the ship's intercom. "Engineering, what's our status on the ring survey?" "Captain," Peter responded, pressing the comm button. "We found something unusual. Request permission to adjust our course for a closer look." There was a brief pause. "Define unusual." "Right. Energy signatures that suggest artificial origin, Mom. They're unlike anything in our database." The silence that followed felt heavier than before. Everyone on the bridge knew what that could mean. In all of humanity's expansion through the solar system, they had never found proof of alien technology. There had been debates about microscopic life on Mars, and strange signals that turned out to be natural phenomena. But nothing concrete. "Permission granted," Captain Miller finally said, "but maintain safe distance protocols. Martinez, I want you monitoring those readings constantly." The Starweaver changed course, its massive engines pushing the ship into a new trajectory. Peter watched as the numbers on his screen grew stronger. His heart beat faster with each passing minute. "Energy readings are increasing," Anna reported, her fingers dancing across her console. "Whatever it is, it's responding to our presence." Through the ship's observation windows, Saturn's rings stretched out like a giant disk of diamonds against the black of space. The B ring, where the signal originated, looked no different from any other part of the rings to the naked eye. But their instruments told a different story. "All hands, this is the captain." Sandra's voice rang through the ship. "We are approaching an anomaly in Saturn's B ring. All departments report to emergency stations. This is not a drill." Peter felt the familiar shift as the ship's protective fields increased to maximum strength. Down in the medical bay, he knew the doctors would be preparing for anything. In the security section, weapons would be charging, just in case. "Visual contact in 3 minutes," Anna announced. The entire bridge crew held their breath as the ship's cameras zoomed in on the target area. At first, there was nothing but ice and rock, the normal components of Saturn's rings. Then something reflected the light differently. "There," Peter pointed at his screen. "Computer, enhanced section 47B. The image zoomed in and sharpened. Hidden among the ice and rock was something that couldn't be natural. It was a structure, dark and metallic, about the size of a small building. Its surface was covered in patterns that looked almost like circuit boards. "My God," Anna whispered. "It's real. We actually found something." Captain Miller's voice was steady when she spoke. "Send out a probe. Let's get a closer look without risking the ship." They watched as the probe approached the structure. As it got closer, the energy readings grew stronger. The structure's surface began to show signs of activity, tiny lights flickering in patterns. "Energy spike," Anna called out suddenly. "It's..." Before she could finish, the structure lit up like a small sun. A beam of light shot out from its surface, but instead of hitting anything, It spread out in a circular pattern. The light twisted and bent in ways that shouldn't be possible. "It's creating some kind of field," Peter said, checking his readings. "But it's stable, not giving off any harmful radiation." The field stabilized into a perfect circle, about 50 meters across. The center was completely empty, but the edges rippled like water. "It's a portal," Anna said quietly. "We're looking at an alien portal." The next hour was filled with intense activity. The ship's eye ran every possible scan on the structure and the portal. Scientists from every department studied the data. Peter and Anna worked nonstop, trying to understand the energy patterns they were seeing. "Look at this," Peter said, pointing to a new set of readings. "The portal's energy signature. It's not just stable, it's waiting." "Waiting for what?" Anna asked. I think it's waiting for us to use it." Captain Miller called an emergency meeting of the senior staff. They gathered in the ship's conference room, all eyes on the large screen showing the portal. "What do we know for sure?" the captain asked. Peter stood up. "The structure is definitely artificial. Based on the materials and energy patterns, we estimate it's thousands of years old, at least. But it's in perfect working condition. The portal it created appears to be some kind of transportation device, but we can't determine the destination." "Could it be a weapon?" Security Chief John Peters asked. Anna shook her head. "All our scans show it's designed for transportation. There's no weapon signature we can detect. And look at how it's positioned, hidden in the rings but accessible. This wasn't meant to be a threat. It was meant to be found." "By who?" Captain Miller asked. "By anyone who had developed enough technology to reach Saturn and detect its energy signature," Peter answered. "It's like a test, to see if we were ready." The captain was quiet for a long moment. "Recommendations?" "We need to study it," Anna said firmly. "This could be the greatest discovery in human history, but we should be careful. Send probes through first, gather data." "Agreed," Peter added. "But we need to act relatively quickly. Now that it's activated, other ships will detect its energy signature. We're the first to find it, but we won't be alone for long." Captain Miller nodded. "Very well. Begin probe preparations and send a message to Earth. They need to know what we found." As Peter left the conference room, he looked out at Saturn's rings. Somewhere out there, an ancient alien civilization had left them a door, and humanity was about to open it. The next 12 hours were the busiest of Peter's life. He and Anna worked with the probe team, preparing the drones for their journey through the portal. Every probe was equipped with full sensor packages and communication devices designed to work across vast distances. "Probe 1 ready for launch," Anna announced. The whole bridge crew watched as the first probe approached the portal. It passed through the rippling field of energy and vanished. "Probe signals are still strong," Peter reported, watching his readings carefully. It's transmitting from somewhere else. Calculating distance now." He paused, checking the numbers again. "This can't be right." "What is it?" Captain Miller asked. "According to these readings, the probe is over 50 light years away." The bridge fell silent. They had just discovered faster-than-light travel. "Data coming in from the probe," Anna said, breaking the silence. "Displaying now." The main screen lit up with images from the probe's cameras. They showed a star system they had never seen before, with planets that had never appeared in any human telescope. And there, in the distance, was another structure, identical to the one they had found in Saturn's rings. Humanity's next great adventure was about to begin. 3 days had passed since the discovery of the portal in Saturn's rings. The Starweaver's crew had sent through 12 probes, each bringing back more amazing data than the last. But now it was time for the next step. "All systems are go," Peter Wright announced from his station. "The shuttle is ready." Captain Sandra Miller looked at the small team assembled before her. "This is a volunteer mission only. Once more, is everyone sure?" Peter, Anna Martinez, and Daniel Cole, the ship's xenorchaeologist, all nodded. They had trained for this moment for the past 72 hours, running every possible scenario they could think of. "The probes show the environment is safe," Anna said, checking her tablet one last time. "The atmosphere in the alien structure is compatible with our life support systems." Daniel adjusted his glasses, barely containing his excitement. "The markings we've seen match no known language pattern. This is our chance to make first contact with an alien civilization." The shuttle launch went smoothly. Peter piloted while Anna monitored their systems and Daniel studied the incoming data. The portal's energy field rippled around them as they passed through, and for a brief moment, everything went white. When their vision cleared, they were in another star system. A red dwarf star cast its dim light across 3 nearby planets. The alien structure floated in space before them, much larger than its twin in Saturn's rings. "Look at the size of it," Anna whispered. "It must be at least a mile long." Peter guided the shuttle toward the structure's docking area, which the probes had identified earlier. As they got closer, lights began to activate along the structure's surface, as if welcoming them. "Energy readings are stable," Anna reported. "The structure is definitely responding to our presence, but in a non-threatening way." The docking process was surprisingly easy, almost as if the structure's systems were helping them. When they finally stepped out of the shuttle, they found themselves in a vast chamber with walls that seemed to glow with a soft, blue light. "The air is clean," Anna said, checking her handheld scanner. "Temperature is steady at 20 degrees Celsius. It's almost like it was prepared for us." Daniel walked slowly around the chamber, studying the markings on the walls. "These patterns, they're not just decoration. They're changing." He was right. The patterns on the walls were shifting slowly, like flowing water made of light. As the 3 humans watched, the patterns began to concentrate in one area, forming what looked like a doorway. "Should we?" Peter asked, looking at his companions. Anna gripped her scanner tightly. The probes didn't detect any threats beyond this room. "I say we go." They passed through the doorway and found themselves in an even larger chamber. The ceiling arched high above them, and in the center of the room was a column of pure light that reached from floor to ceiling. Suddenly, the light began to move. It twisted and flowed, taking on shapes that shouldn't have been possible. Then, before their amazed eyes, it formed into a figure that looked almost human, but made entirely of glowing energy. "Welcome, children of Earth," the figure spoke, its voice somehow both in their ears and in their minds. "We are the Luminary. We have waited long for a species to find us." Daniel stepped forward, his hands shaking with excitement. "You speak our language." The figure seemed to smile, though it had no real face. "We speak all languages. We have watched your kind grow, studied your transmissions, learned your ways. You are young, but you have great potential." "What are you?" Anna asked, her scanner forgotten in her hand. "We were once like you, beings of matter and energy. But we evolved beyond physical form. We became pure energy, pure thought. Some of your kind might call us gods, though we are simply older, not divine." Peter found his voice. "Why did you leave this portal for us to find?" The Luminaries' light dimmed slightly. "Because we need your help. We face an enemy we cannot defeat alone. An enemy that nearly destroyed us, forcing us to retreat from physical space eons ago." The chamber darkened, and images appeared in the air around them. They showed massive ships, dark and angular, moving through space like a swarm of metal insects. "The mechanoids," the Luminary explained, "a race of living machines that consume entire civilizations. They do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. They simply expand, consume, and multiply." "But you're so powerful," Anna said. "How could they be a threat to you?" "Because they are perfect in their own way, perfectly logical, perfectly efficient, and utterly unstoppable by conventional means. We tried to fight them with our technology, our energy manipulation, our vast knowledge. But they adapted to everything we did. They learned from each failure, became stronger. Daniel was recording everything on his tablet. Why do you think we could help? We're far less advanced than you. The Luminaries' light brightened. Because you are different. You are unpredictable. In all our observations of your species, we have seen something unique. You do not follow logical patterns. You make choices that seem irrational, yet lead to success. You embrace chaos in a way we never could. More images appeared, showing human history. People overcoming impossible odds, surviving against all logic, succeeding where they should have failed. The mechanoids are coming, the luminary continued. They detected the portal's activation. They will find Earth, just as they found our worlds long ago. But together, perhaps we have a chance. Your unpredictability combined with our power might be enough to stop them. Peter looked at Anna and Daniel. They didn't need to speak to know. They were all thinking the same thing. This was bigger than them, bigger than anything humanity had ever faced. How long do we have? Peter asked. Months, perhaps. They are far from here, but they will come. We can offer you our technology, our knowledge. But we need your creativity, your chaos, your human spirit. Anna stepped forward. I have a question. If you retreated from physical space, why maintain these structures? Why wait for someone like us? The luminary's light pulsed gently. Because we knew we were wrong to run. Because despite our power, we failed to protect younger races from the mechanoids. We have waited for a species with the potential to fight them differently. We have waited for you. Peter took a deep breath. We'll need to contact Earth. Our leaders will need to know everything. Of course, the luminary said. But first, let us show you what we can offer. Your species must understand both the threat and the opportunity before you. The chamber filled with more images, showing technology beyond human understanding. Weapons that could reshape matter. Ships that could fold space. Defenses that could stop entire fleets. Together, the luminary said, we might accomplish what neither of us could do alone. We offer our knowledge freely, asking only that you use it to help us stop the mechanoids before they consume all life in the galaxy. As Peter, Anna, and Daniel watched the displays of incredible technology, they knew that humanity had just stepped onto a much larger stage. The time of isolation was over. The real test of human potential was about to begin. In that moment, none of them could have guessed just how important humanity's chaotic nature would prove to be in the coming war, or how much the luminary would learn from the species they had come to help. Lisa Morgan stood at the window of her office in the United Earth Defense Council headquarters, looking out over the busy streets of New Denver. 2 weeks had passed since the Starweaver's crew made first contact with the luminary. In that time, Earth had changed more than it had in the past 50 years. The Asian Coalition has agreed to join the Unified Defense Force, her assistant reported. That makes it unanimous. All Earth nations are now working together. Lisa nodded, still watching the streets below. People went about their daily lives, most of them unaware of how much danger they were in. The public announcement about the mechanoids would happen tomorrow. Her computer chimed with an incoming call. The holographic display showed Peter Wright's face, transmitted through the Saturn portal from the luminary structure. Director Morgan, Peter said, his expression serious. We've detected something. The luminaries say it's a mechanoid scout ship. It just entered the outer edges of their sensor range. Lisa's heart skipped a beat, but her voice remained steady. How long? At their current speed, they'll reach Earth in about 3 months. But that's just the scout. The main fleet. Peter paused. The main fleet is about 6 months behind them. Show me what we're dealing with. Peter sent through the sensor data. The scout ship was massive, about the size of a small city. It looked like a giant metal spider, with long legs extending from a central body. Its surface was covered in what looked like moving parts, constantly shifting and changing. The luminary are helping us prepare, Peter continued. Anna and the engineering team are working on integrating their technology with our ships. It's incredible what they can do. And the weapons systems. That's the problem, Peter said. The Luminaries' weapons are powerful, but the mechanoids adapted to them long ago. We're trying something different. We're combining their tech with human designs in ways they never thought of. Lisa turned as Captain Ryan Baker entered her office. The captain had been chosen to lead Earth's first hybrid fleet, ships equipped with both human and luminary technology. The first 6 ships are ready, Ryan reported. They're unlike anything we've ever built, but the crews are still learning how to use them. Lisa looked back at Peter's hologram. How are the Luminary handling our modifications to their technology? Peter actually smiled. They're fascinated. They keep saying we use their tools in illogical but effective ways. I think we surprise them every day. Good, Lisa said. We'll need every advantage we can get. What about the defense platforms? Anna's team has finished the first ring of orbital defenses around Earth, Ryan answered. They're based on luminary shields, but we've added some human touches. They're unpredictable, just like us. The meeting continued for another hour, discussing preparations and strategies. When it was over, Lisa returned to her window. The sun was setting now, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Her computer chimed again. This time, it was Anna Martinez. Director, Anna said, her image showing her in what looked like a massive workshop. Behind her, engineers worked on strange devices that glowed with luminary energy. We've just tested the new hybrid drive systems. They work better than we hoped. The mechanoids won't be able to predict our movement patterns. Explain it to me, Lisa said. We're using luminary energy technology, but instead of their normal precise calculations, we've added a random factor. Each jump through space will be slightly different, following patterns that even we can't predict exactly. The mechanoids won't be able to calculate where we'll appear. Lisa smiled. Human chaos was already proving its worth. The next day, as Lisa prepared for the worldwide announcement, she received an urgent message. The mechanoid scout ship had increased its speed. It would arrive in just 6 weeks. They must have detected our preparations, Ryan said during the emergency meeting. They're coming to test our defenses. Peter's hologram nodded. The Luminary agree. This is typical mechanoid behavior. They send a scout to probe for weaknesses, but they've never encountered defenses quite like ours before. How ready are we? Lisa asked. 6 hybrid ships are operational, Ryan reported. 4 more will be ready in 2 weeks. The orbital defense ring is at 80% power. Ground-based defenses are still under construction. The Luminary have provided everything they promised, Anna added, but they're worried. They say the mechanoids they fought were bad enough. These have had thousands of years to evolve and improve. Lisa stood up and faced her team. Then we'll just have to show them that humanity has evolved too. Captain Baker, I want those ships running battle drills around the clock. Anna, get those orbital defenses to full power. Peter, work with the Luminary. See if they can tell us anything else about mechanoid tactics. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. The public announcement caused panic at first, but humanity showed its strength. Instead of falling apart, people came together. Volunteers flooded the defense forces. Scientists worked around the clock to understand and improve the luminary technology. 5 weeks after the announcement, the first battle of humanity's greatest war began. The mechanoid scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars' orbit. It was even larger than the sensors had shown, its metal surface constantly shifting and changing like liquid mercury. All ships, battle positions, Ryan's voice came through the command channel. Remember your training. Be unpredictable. Don't fall into patterns. The 6 hybrid ships moved into position. They looked strange, combining human and luminary design. Their hulls glowed with energy patterns, and their movements seemed to defy normal spaceflight rules. Enemy ship is scanning us. Anna reported from her position in orbital defense control. They're trying to analyze our capabilities. The mechanoid ship launched its first attack without warning. Beams of energy shot out from its legs. aiming for the hybrid ships. But the ships moved in ways that made no sense, their paths random and chaotic. Most of the beams missed. "Return fire," Ryan ordered. "Random attack pattern Alpha." The hybrid ships fired their weapons. Luminary energy combined with human missile technology in ways that had never been seen before. The mechanoid ship's shields blocked some attacks, but others got through, causing damage to its outer hull. "It's adapting," Peter warned from the luminary structure. "Its surface is changing to match our weapons." "Then we change too," Ryan said. "All ships switched to pattern beta. Use the crazy maneuvers we practiced." The battle continued for hours. The mechanoid ship was powerful and kept adapting to their attacks, but it couldn't adapt to everything at once. Human unpredictability proved to be a powerful weapon. Finally, after taking heavy damage, the mechanoid scout retreated. It jumped back into faster-than-light travel, leaking behind a damaged but triumphant human fleet. "We did it," Ryan said, his voice tired but proud. "We actually did it." But Lisa Morgan wasn't celebrating yet. She knew this was just the beginning. The scout would report back to the main fleet. The real test was still to come. "All teams," she announced over the general channel. "Well done, but don't get comfortable. We have 4 months to prepare for the main fleet." And now they know we can fight. As she looked at the battle damage reports, Lisa couldn't help but smile a little. Humanity had just won its first battle against an enemy that even gods feared, not through overwhelming power, but through unpredictability and chaos. The real war was about to begin. But humanity was ready to show the galaxy just how dangerous chaos could be. Peter Wright sat in the luminary structure, staring at the battle recordings from the scout ship encounter. Something about the way the mechanoid ship moved kept bothering him. He had watched the footage 50 times, looking for a pattern. "You're going to wear out your eyes," Anna Martinez said, bringing him a cup of coffee. They had installed a small human living area in the structure, complete with a coffee maker. Even the luminary had become curious about the drink that kept their human allies working so long. "Look at this," Peter pointed to the screen. Every time the mechanoid ship took damage, it paused for exactly 2.3 seconds before adapting. Every single time. No variation at all. Anna set down her coffee. "That's interesting. Living creatures usually have at least some variation in reaction time." "Exactly." Peter stood up, excited. "They're too perfect, too precise. What if that's not their strength? What if it's their weakness?" The luminary being they had come to know as Guide appeared nearby, its energy form glowing with interest. "Explain your thinking, Peter Wright." "The mechanoids adapt perfectly to everything they encounter. But it's always a logical adaptation. What if we did something completely illogical? Something that makes no sense at all?" Anna caught on quickly. "Like programming our ships to make mistakes on purpose." "Yes." Peter turned to Guide. "Your people tried to fight them with perfect weapons and perfect strategies. But perfection can be predicted. Chaos can't." Guide's light pulsed thoughtfully. This is why we needed humans. We would never have considered deliberately introducing flaws into our systems." Peter quickly called Lisa Morgan and Captain Ryan Baker. They needed to hear this idea. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, Amy Foster was working on something that might help. She had been studying the small pieces of mechanoid technology they had recovered from the battle. As a systems specialist, she saw something others had missed. "Their code is perfect," she explained to her team. "Every line serves a purpose. There's no redundancy, no waste. But that means they can't handle waste," one of her teammates said, catching on. "They literally don't know how to process unnecessary information." Amy nodded excitedly. "So what if we give them too much information? What if we create a virus that doesn't try to break their systems, but instead fills them with random, useless data?" The idea spread quickly through the defense forces. Everyone began looking for ways to make their systems less perfect, more chaotic. It went against everything they knew about military technology, But that was exactly why it might work. Captain Ryan Baker gathered his fleet commanders for a new kind of training. "Forget everything you know about proper combat maneuvers," he told them. "I want you to fly like crazy people. I want you to make mistakes. I want you to be unpredictable." The pilots thought he was joking at first, but as they practiced, they began to understand. Their ships, powered by luminary technology, but guided by human chaos, moved in ways that no logical enemy could predict. "It's like jazz," one pilot said during training. "We know the basic rules, but we improvise everything else." Back in the luminary structure, Peter and Anna worked with Guide to modify their weapons. Instead of precise energy beams, they created weapons that fluctuated randomly in power. Instead of perfectly aimed shots, they developed systems that would deliberately miss sometimes but cause unexpected effects in space. "This goes against everything we believe in," Guide said, watching them work. "But we can see the logic in your illogic." Amy's virus development was going well too. She had created something she called the Chaos Engine. When inserted into a system, it didn't try to destroy anything. Instead, it generated endless streams of random, useless data. To a human system, it would be annoying but manageable. To the perfectly efficient mechanoids, it might be devastating. Think of it like giving a perfect math student a test where none of the questions have right answers. Amy explained to Lisa Morgan. "They'll keep trying to find logical solutions that don't exist." The Luminary provided a test platform, a small piece of technology similar to mechanoid systems. When they introduced Amy's virus, the results were better than they hoped. The system didn't crash, but it became stuck in endless loops trying to process and categorize the random data. "How soon can we have this ready for the main fleet?" Lisa asked. "We'll need a way to deliver it," Amy said. "The mechanoids will be expecting normal cyber attacks. We need something they won't see as a threat at all." That's when Peter had another crazy idea. "What if we don't hide it? What if we make it look like a clumsy attempt at communication? They're so logical, they might not expect us to deliberately show them our code." The next few weeks were filled with frantic preparation. Ships were programmed with deliberately flawed combat patterns. Weapons were modified to be unpredictable. Amy's virus was packaged to look like a primitive attempt at digital communication. The Luminary watched all of this with growing amazement. These humans were taking their advanced technology and making it worse on purpose. It went against every principle they had developed over millions of years of evolution. But they couldn't argue with the results. During test battles, ships using the new, flawed systems consistently outperformed those using traditional perfect tactics. The randomness made them nearly impossible to predict or counter. "It's beautiful," Guide said, watching a training exercise. "In all our existence, we never considered that imperfection could be an advantage." Peter looked up from his work. "That's because you evolved past your flaws. But sometimes flaws can be useful. Sometimes the best way to win isn't to be better, but to be different." Lisa Morgan visited the training facilities regularly, watching as humanity prepared for war in its own unique way. The pilots were getting better at being unpredictable, the engineers were finding new ways to make technology less perfect, and the tactical teams were developing battle plans that made no logical sense. "The mechanoids expect us to either be primitive and easily defeated, or advanced and predictable," she told her staff. "We're going to show them something new, advanced chaos." 3 months after the scout ship battle, their sensors detected the main mechanoid fleet entering the solar system. It was time to see if human ingenuity could overcome mechanical perfection. As the fleet gathered for battle, Captain Ryan Baker addressed his crews one last time. "Remember, don't try to be perfect. Don't try to be logical. Be human. Be unpredictable. Be chaos itself." Peter, Anna, and Amy watched from their respective stations as humanity prepared to face its greatest challenge. They had taken the gifts of the gods and made them imperfect. They had embraced chaos as a weapon. Now they would find out if it was enough. The mechanoid fleet approached, their ships perfect and precise in their formations. They had no way of knowing that they were about to face something they had never encountered before, an enemy that had turned imperfection into strength. The mechanoid fleet filled the view screens, hundreds of massive ships moving in perfect formation. They looked like a swarm of metal insects, their surfaces shifting and changing as they approached Earth's defenses. All ships, battle positions. Captain Ryan Baker's voice was calm despite the tension. Remember your training. Be unpredictable. Be human. Peter Wright and Anna Martinez watched from the Luminary structure as Earth's fleet moved to meet the enemy. Their ships didn't maintain any formation at all. Each one moved randomly, creating a chaotic pattern that made no tactical sense. The Chaos Engine virus is ready, Amy Foster reported from her station in Earth's Orbital Defense Center. Loading it into the communication buoys now. Lisa Morgan stood in the United Earth Defense Council Command Center, watching multiple screens showing different aspects of the coming battle. Launch the buoys, she ordered. Dozens of small devices shot out from Earth's defense platforms. They looked like normal communication beacons, broadcasting what appeared to be clumsy attempts at first contact protocols. But hidden inside was Amy's virus, waiting to infect the perfectly ordered mechanoid systems. The enemy fleet is scanning the buoys, Anna reported. Yes, they're downloading the data. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then several mechanoid ships began to move erratically. Their perfect formation started to break apart as their systems struggled to process the random, meaningless data flooding their networks. First wave. Attack now, Ryan commanded. Random pattern Alpha. Earth's ships darted forward, each one following its own chaotic path. The mechanoid ships fired their weapons, but their usual perfect aim was thrown off by the unpredictable movements. Most of their shots missed completely. It's working, Peter shouted. Their targeting systems can't handle our random movements. The Luminary watched in amazement as their human allies deliberately flew like drunk pilots, making mistakes that somehow turned into advantages. Guide's energy form pulsed with excitement. We begin to understand, Guide said. Chaos is not merely the absence of order. It is a power of its own. The battle spread across the solar system. Mechanoid ships tried to adapt to human tactics, but every time they adjusted to one pattern, the humans would switch to something completely different. There was no logic to predict, no pattern to analyze. Second wave, launch the modified weapons, Ryan ordered. The hybrid ships fired their weapons, which had been altered to be deliberately unstable. Energy beams flickered and wavered, changing power levels randomly. Missiles followed curved, unpredictable paths. The mechanoids couldn't calculate where the attacks would land or how much damage they would do. But the enemy was still incredibly powerful. Several Earth ships took heavy damage. The mechanoids began to adjust their strategies, breaking into smaller groups to try different approaches. They're learning, Anna warned. We need to do something they won't expect. Peter looked at the tactical display and had a crazy idea. Guide. He turned to the Luminary being. You said your people can manipulate energy directly, right? Correct. Could you create chaos in space itself? Not in a controlled way, but randomly. Make space itself unpredictable. Guide's light flickered as it considered this. We have never. It would go against all our training. But yes, it might be possible. Do it, Lisa's voice came through the comm. We'll hit them with chaos from every direction. The Luminary began to act. Points of light appeared throughout the battlefield. Space itself seemed to ripple and twist. Gravity shifted randomly. Light bent in impossible ways. The mechanoid ships, designed to operate in normal space with normal physics, began to have trouble maintaining their positions. Now, Ryan called. All ships, full attack. Earth's fleet struck from all directions, their weapons made even more unpredictable by the chaotic space around them. Amy's virus continued to spread through the mechanoid network, causing more and more ships to struggle with their basic functions. Peter noticed something strange on his screens. Look at this. Some of the mechanoid ships, They're starting to move like our ships." He was right. A few enemy ships had begun to move in random patterns, breaking away from their usual perfect formations. But instead of making them stronger, this seemed to be causing confusion in their fleet. "Their network is breaking down," Amy reported. "They're losing their unity. Each ship is trying different solutions to the chaos, but they can't agree on what to do." The battle raged for hours. Earth lost ships, but the mechanoid losses were higher. Their perfect coordination was shattered by the virus. Their predictive systems were useless against human chaos, and their very environment had become unpredictable thanks to the Luminary. Finally, the largest mechanoid ship, presumably their command center, began to show signs of serious malfunction. Its surface stopped shifting, freezing in a half-transformed state. "Their command ship is paralyzed," Anna said. "The virus has completely overwhelmed their central network." "All ships, concentrate fire on the command ship," Ryan ordered. "Maximum chaos in all weapons." The combined fire of Earth's fleet, powered by luminary technology, but guided by human unpredictability, tore into the massive ship. Without their command center, the remaining mechanoid ships fell into disarray. Some retreated immediately, while others seemed to shut down completely. When the energy beams faded and the chaotic space returned to normal, the solar system was filled with drifting debris from mechanoid ships. Earth's fleet had taken heavy damage, but they had won. "We did it," Lisa said quietly, then louder, "We did it." Cheers erupted throughout all human channels. In the luminary structure, Guide's light glowed brighter than ever before. "You have taught us something precious," Guide said to Peter, Anna, and all the humans present. "We thought our evolution toward perfection made us stronger, but you showed us that imperfection, chaos, and unpredictability have their own kind of power." "Will they come back?" Peter asked, looking at the battlefield displays. "Perhaps," Guide answered, "but they will never again encounter a predictable enemy here. The Luminary will remember this lesson. We will learn to embrace a little chaos ourselves." In the weeks that followed, humanity began to rebuild their fleet, incorporating the lessons they had learned. The Luminary stayed, no longer hidden in their structures, but working openly with humans to create new technologies that combine the best of both their natures. Lisa Morgan stood in her office, looking out at the sunset. The streets below were filled with celebrating people. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and survived, not by becoming perfect, but by embracing what made them unique. "The universe is a chaotic place," she said to no one in particular. "Maybe it's about time someone taught the gods how to dance with chaos." On the luminary structure, Peter and Anna watched as Guide attempted to create deliberately imperfect energy patterns. The ancient being was learning to let go of its need for perfection, inspired by the species it had come to help. "Do you think we've seen the last of the mechanoids?" Anna asked. Peter shook his head. "Probably not. But next time, they won't just be facing humanity. They'll be facing chaos itself." And somewhere in the depths of space, the retreating mechanoid ships carried with them a new understanding. That perfection was not the ultimate power in the universe. Sometimes, the most dangerous force was a species that could turn its own imperfections into strength.